Okay, it's Saturday. Let me have a look at the charts because I haven't really gone into depth on any of the charts in a while. So I'm looking at them quite fresh. It's been a bit boring because Bitcoin's been trading sideways. But I'm just having a look at total crypto market cap right now, the entire cryptocurrency market cap. And it's still looking, it's boring. It's boring, right? Everybody's saying it's boring, but it's doing pretty well. So what have we got here on the total crypto market cap? What we got is the bottom of the range here, the top of the range at the top here. And pretty much if we back out our fibs on that swing, so this is the retest, okay, that's the retest. We broke out of this down sloping trend line, okay, came out, retested it here, we retested it, and we shot straight up to the top of the range here. So that's good. Bitcoin's doing good. I say Bitcoin, the total cryptocurrency, sorry, is doing well. Let me back up my fibs here. Okay, so to the bottom, to the top, and you can see here's our 50%. So we're well above it, well above 2.38 trillion. So we've got some support down here. The cryptocurrency market cap can come down here and that's fine. I like to grab the 618 a lot of the times and layer in. So that's good. We've got some, we're still fine. We're still fine. We're 50% of this swing range here. So we're looking good. Let's have a look at the swing on the bottom of the range here to the top of the range here. Okay, and if we have a look at that, we are pretty much right on the 50%. Okay, maybe slightly closing at the moment because that's the daily chart. Let's have a look at the 4 hourly. We're slightly underneath it, and you can see it is the price action here is fighting it. But don't worry too much. Don't worry too much. We just need it to hold above this 50%, which is at 2.38 trillion. So that's the total cryptocurrency market cap. If I move over to the right here, you can see total, all cryptos, 0.27%, and total 2, excluding Bitcoin, is at 0.43%. So ETH is sort of holding up the market as of today versus the altcoins as well, okay? Bitcoin showing a bit more strength than the altcoins, so it's ETH that's propping up the market. So let's move over to Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is still doing well as well. It's still doing well, laying out the land. Again, I know it's a lot of information here. Let me get myself a bit more space. I know there's a lot of numbers and a lot of stuff going on here. The main things you need to know laying out the land is the top of the ranges here, which are those two numbers here, 73.8k and 71.9k. Okay, that's the top of the range. That's where we keep getting rejected here, rejected up here, and we got rejected out here. And then the bottom of the range right here, 60,700 and 59,000. Okay, bottom of the range, you can see we touched it here, we touched it here, we touched it here, we actually deviated from it underneath here, and we touched it down here. So we've actually touched the bottom of the range a few times. I don't usually like touching the bottom of the ranges too much times. If you think about it in terms of like a glass floor, we're hitting on it a lot of times, and what I've mainly been focusing on since this downtrend line here, since I drew this here in April, is that this trend line here, right? This trend line here, and the fact that we've been hitting our heads, Bitcoin has been hitting its head against it. It came out, broke out, done a retest. Okay, retest. That's where I entered my longs and some new positions, spot positions, and then we've broken up. We're above the 50% here at 66.5k. Okay, that's very crucial here. 66.5k. Which is the 50% of the entire range, of this range here, because we are in a range. We've been in this range since February. Okay, cool. So Bitcoin is doing well. It broke out of the trend line, it's retested, and it's come up, and we're above our 50%. Okay, so this is a 4 hour trend line, 4 hour chart, and we are still in this trading range. We're in this little we're in this symmetrical triangle. So far. So we want to see where this breaks out to. We have had a few wicks at the bottom here recently. Yesterday, that was a bit of a scare. But at the moment, the closes are still inside, so there's nothing to worry about. We're still inside. We're at 67.7k at the moment. We still got some support at this 50% at 66.5k. So as long as we're holding that, and especially the 618 here, okay, the golden ratio, 64.7k. I don't want to see Bitcoin come below and break down below this, and especially the 618. That I don't think is very good. If we start to lose 64.7, it's very likely we are coming down to 60k, the bottom of the range, 60.7k, sorry, bottom of the range. And I don't want to see this troubled again, really. I really don't want to see this troubled again, because otherwise that's indicative of us, of the probability of us dropping a bit lower. Okay, we do have our 50% here, okay, which we touched once, 56.2k, and then we've got a larger trend line that I've drawn. Let me go into the daily and give ourselves a bit of breathing room to this trend line here. Okay, this trend line here, down here, so just above the 50%. I imagine as time goes by, this 50%, there's a lot of confluence there. Actually looking at it right now, there's a lot of confluence here. Remember, I haven't really been looking at these charts as such, especially more macro. So if it does break down and it loses 50% at 618, very likely coming down to the 60.7, and then there's quite a bit of support here at 56k. So like that, this sort of area here is going to be some really good buying opportunities. In my opinion, I'd go heavily long here and buy some more spot positions here, because I've got a certain amount, or I should say I've had a certain amount that I was looking to purchase on spot here, obviously on the 50% here. And I obviously did have a larger 50% down here at 44k, just in case it got there, but it still hasn't got there yet. Okay, Bitcoin can do that. It can do that. So I've got some money there, but I've got a certain amount of money that I allocate in this trading range, at the bottom of this trading range, the white and the red line. Okay, there's a certain amount I'll buy around here, a certain amount I'll buy at the 50%, and I don't do anything more than that. I'll purchase there, and I've got an allocated amount that I'll do purchase there, and then I've got a certain amount that I'll purchase if it ever comes down to the 50%. And plan accordingly, but keep track of the market. That's all I can do. I can only keep track of the market, but it's boring. Everyone's getting bored. And it's strange, really, when you're considering how far we've gone up. Everyone's bored. Everyone wants to push up. But you know what I mean? What Bitcoin has done has been fabulous. Actually has been fabulous. Let's have a look at some of these days here. So I switched over to the 5-day chart. I just want to have a look at some of the consolidation that's happened. Okay, because we had a consolidation. We had a consolidation when Bitcoin put in its low down here in 2022. We pushed up. There was a trend line coming down here. We broke out, retest, and then we was in this sideways consolidation for 195 days. Yeah. So this consolidation was 195 days. Okay. So, and then the second consolidation was here. We had 70 days. Okay. 70 days here. 70 days consolidation before we then broke out. Okay. Cool. So far, let's have a look at what I've got here. Let me clean up the chart. So that was 70 days down here. We've gone past that. You can see here, I was measuring this. 70 days would have brought us back here. That was actually when looks like when we're touching the 50%? No, just before that. So around 65 days is when we touched this 50% here. We touched that 50%. And obviously the 70 days, if we was comparing it to the previous one that I mentioned here, and that's what I'm doing. I'm just comparing the consolidation areas. So we've gone past this zone here, and that's partly why I felt comfortable buying at that 50%, because we had done something similar. We consolidated similar to this area here in January 2024. So we hit that. That's fine, 70 days. But what if we was to do what we did down here, which was like 195 days? Where does that take us? Where does 195 days take us to? 195 days takes us to September. Okay, late September. So it's just potentially being ready for something like that. We might need a long time consolidating in this range here. Okay, we might need a long time consolidating in this range. Remember the range here? This red, this white. We might consolidate here for a long time. September, hit this trend line. We might be waiting for this trend line. Bitcoin might need that as support, as fuel to push out. So be ready for it being very, very, very boring if that's the case. But then again, with Bitcoin's doing well. It's above its 50%. It broke out. It's above its 50%. Don't lose track of the market. Don't go crazy at the moment. I'm not really going to be buying anything more on this 50% here. That's fine. I'm not going to put in any leverage longs or anything. I'm in my positions. It's okay. And if we drop down to the bottom of the range, I'll buy again. Do you know what I mean? In the 50%, I'll buy again. And I've got an emergency fund, which I'll buy on the 50% if we ever get a wick or something down there. So plan accordingly, knowing that, right? Plan accordingly. I don't know what your plans are. Make a plan though, and have an invalidation area. If you bought a whole load of alts up here, I imagine a lot of people have bought a bunch of alts up here. I wouldn't be surprised if we come back down to test the bottom of the range, or if we was to come back down and test this 50% down here, because that will shake our alts a lot. You'll see your alts drop by about 30% or so, because some of the alts are still coming down. So let's have a look. Let me have a quick look at ETH. Let's have a quick look at ETH. Yeah, ETH's doing the same thing. Let's go to the 6 hour. Yeah, everyone was tracking this. Everyone was surprised by this. Everyone had given up on ETH. Everyone knows, if you pay attention to my channel, you know I play ETH. I play ETH versus Bitcoin, right? All right, broke out and it shot straight up. It shot straight up. So ETH is in this sort of range, minimum range here, from like 4K to, where's this, 3.5K, and it's in this range. I can see already that it's above its 50%, so that's cool. ETH's doing its thing. ETH's doing its thing. ETH BTC, okay. This is the chart that I always go to, because I always, as you know, I've got a plan to pyramid into, I have had my plan into pyramid to ETH like that. I've bought ETH, I've swapped I've swapped my Bitcoin for ETH a good 3 times in this area here. Okay, not a significant amount. More down here on this monthly swing. It'll be nice if it comes down here one more time, but I might not get it. It might produce a higher low, come down to about here and then break out, and that's fine. That's fine. It is what it is. So that's ETH versus Bitcoin. Let's have a look at some of the other alts. Let's have a look at quickly NEAR versus ETH, since I'm here. That's coming down as well. NEAR is losing value versus ETH. I don't want to see it lose this trend line here. Okay, I don't want to see it lose that trend line, and I don't want to see it lose the 50% or the 618. If I see it come down to the 618 and get a bounce and fail to close above here, I will trade all of my NEAR back for ETH. Okay, so that's that. Let's have a look at, since I just done NEAR, let's have a look at NEAR USDT. Let's switch it to the 4 hour. And what can we see here? What can we see here? Okay, cool. So I have been tracking NEAR since this trend line down here, 28th of May, so Tuesday, right? And we haven't broken this 4 hour down sloping trend line, so I'll continue to track that. We have hit the 50%, but NEAR is struggling. If Bitcoin begins to drop, this will come down. And I thought we would be kissing $6 goodbye, but if that does happen, we're looking at $6.08 down here. I don't like the fact that NEAR has lost its monthly swing. I was hoping it would hold this. It hasn't. It hasn't. But at the end of the day, NEAR's doing well. Why I'm particularly interested in this 50%. This 50% comes from this swing here. And you might be able to see it better if I go to a daily. Let me go to a daily. Go to a daily on NEAR. Okay. So like Bitcoin, focus on this trend line here. This trend line here, you can see the breakout, retest, and then it came up. Okay, so that's the swing that that's what I've backed my fib out on. I've backed my fib out on this swing low to this swing high, and that's where the 50% is. $7.01. Okay, $7.14. Sorry, $7.14. So I don't want NEAR to lose $7.14. But we do have a lot of support. We've got support as well at $6.08 and the weekly swing here at $6.64. Okay, I would like to see it hold this area. I don't want to see it come back down. Okay, I don't really want to see it come back down. So that's NEAR. That's NEAR. Let's have a look at Solana. So what's Sol doing? Sol's just broken trend. I was tracking this supporting line here. Sol is losing its trend. It's got its 50% here at $1.53. Where is that fib coming from? Let me just make sure I've got the right thing going on here. It looks like it's this fib here. Yep. So it's this fib. It's the breakout fib. It's the breakout fib right there. Yeah, I don't want to see it $1.53 and $1.45. So keep track of that. Injective, what's Injective doing? Injective, okay, still below its 50%. That's not good. That's not good. You can see we had our 50% here, rejected, didn't get up to it the second time, rejected, and we are hitting our head, our we look like we want to break the 618. We look like we want to break the 618. Where are we going to if we break that? Or we're going down to $19 at these swing highs here. $19. I don't like where Injective is at the moment, because if Bitcoin breaks down, this will break down as well. Let's look at TR. Oh, I had a long on TR, and I mentioned TR, didn't I? TR, I did take this trade. Unfortunately, Bitcoin hasn't moved as much. And if it was to, and I went on this based on the fact that everything else had been breaking out, this one did break out, retest, shot up. I did expect a little bit of a pullback on this 50%, which is why I took some of my profits away. And hopefully we hold the 50% at these tops at $10.33. We still got $9.25 to contend with, and it might come back even further down to these bottoms here at $7.31, and it will be confluence with the trend line again, so maybe a retest. So I would consider my position if we was to lose this, and you can see I've already got my alert here as well, so that's good. I've got my alert at $7.30, so I'll close my position if that happens on TR. What else is happening? What's things like Pepe doing? Pepe, my gosh, look how strong this coin is. Wow. Okay, so you got some tops here. Let's back out our fibs on the latest swing. On the latest swing here. There we go. So you're looking at, this will be like 100x leverage or something like that already on BitGet. So it'll probably be something like 0.013. So those of you in Pepe, that's that. What else is happening? I'm just gonna quickly look through some of these. Arweave, what's Arweave doing? Arweave, okay, cool. Arweave's hella strong. Arweave is hella strong. Well above its support area here at $41. I've been tracking this for a long time, and it's above it, man. It's above it. Arweave's just hella strong. AVAX below its 50%. It's below its recent, this little swing here. It's 50% at $36.53. Okay, I don't like it. It's coming for the 618. So if it loses that again, expect it to come all the way back down to $30. And that's a lot of hits. 1, 2, 3. If it comes back down like that, $31. You know what this is showing to me when I look at this? It just looks like alts are just quite weak versus Bitcoin and ETH right now. Be very careful in your altcoin positions. That's what I'd say. Be very, very careful. If Bitcoin shits the bed, these are getting fucked. These are going to get fucked. Big time. Big time, big time, big time, big time. That's what it's showing to me. Alts look kind of weak. I'm not going to lie. So I'm going to be paying. It's a good idea for me to pay close attention to alts right now. Alts versus Bitcoin. Alts versus ETH. And especially ETH as well. If your altcoins aren't performing better than ETH right now, then just reconsider your position. Reconsider your position, yeah? So put your alerts where you need to put your alerts. But I mean, because at the moment, Bitcoin it's fine. It's above its 50%. But these alts are kind of, they're showing some weakness. So they're waiting for Bitcoin to make its next move. And if Bitcoin does not make its next move, if it doesn't break out of this symmetrical triangle, and hold, it's not going to look good for them, because, you know, when Bitcoin makes a high and then goes sideways, it gives alts breathing room to also push up higher, and it looks like they've pushed up as high as they can, minus a few others like Arweave, some of the really strong coins. But now they're bleeding even though Bitcoin's going sideways, and I guess we're waiting for the king to make its move, and ETH is showing much more strength than Bitcoin at the moment. So yeah, it's a bit choppy out there. Be careful. Be careful. Stay safe on the streets. But then again, you know, what do I know? Yeah? Take it easy. Have a good Saturday.